Hi everybody, my name's Doug Wilson and this is Yellow Hawk Customs Outdoors. I have a lot of knives, right? And I've been into knives since I was, teenager, kid, really. But through the years, especially over the last 2 or 3 years, I have some really favorite knives that I like to use. Now, everybody knows you can't use all your knives at one time. Depends on how many you have, but I do like to take these knives out, these favorites, for different situations. You know what I mean? You guys stay tuned. I'm going to talk a little bit about my favorite knives that I use in the field. Alright, so it's gotten to the point now I work with several different custom knife makers. And it just stands to reason that a lot of my favorite knives are going to be the ones that I designed, because that's why I designed them, right? I designed the knives that I have designed because I want them to do certain things that maybe I feel other knives don't do, and I wanted to design a knife that does everything I want it to do. You get what I'm saying? So I'm going to start off with a few of the neck knives that I like to wear. Now, I wear a neck knife almost every day, okay? Now, I don't have a 9-to-5 job. I sit in my shop and I build sheath systems for people. But while I'm building, I usually have a neck knife around my neck. And the reason I do that is, well, there's a couple of different reasons. But I like to be able to reach down and grab a knife whenever I want it, okay? I use a knife a lot, cutting paracord, building fires, whatever, okay? Opening up boxes. I get, 5 or 6 boxes a day, So, this is the first one I'd like to show you guys. Now, I'm not going to say this is my favorite. I'm not going to do that anymore. Right? People tend to get butthurt when you do that, all right? If I leave one of the makers out because I forgot, or I don't use that knife that often or whatever, I don't want anybody getting butthurt. So, if I show it to you, it's a knife that I use. And I use this one quite a bit, because I like it. Okay, this is my design. This is the Viper Edc. And it's built, the knife itself is built by Joshua Blankenship at Ankara Knife Company. And I'll tell you how it goes. Most of the knife makers that I work with, this is how it goes, okay? You contact them, you tell them what you want in the knife, right? You work with them, as far as the knife is concerned. When they're done building the knife, they send it to me, and you and I work on a sheath together. So, in effect, we're offering knife and sheath systems, okay? This is a knife and sheath system right here. Now, they're not all the same, okay? You have a lot to say in how the knife is built and how the sheath is built. This is completely custom work. You get exactly what you want for exactly what you want it to do in the field, okay? And this necker meets my criteria for a lot of the situations I use a necker for. I even use this one when I go on backpacking trips, camping trips, bushcrafting trips, whatever, okay? I put the edge on it that I like. I hold it the way I like. The handle is how I like them, right? You know, it's got this little thumb rest here for a little bit more control. You know, thumb pushes, whatever, okay? It's got, you know, a certain amount of wow factor to it. That's a cool looking knife. You know what I mean? That's a neat looking knife. But it's also very functional. So this is the Viper Necker. The steel is, this one happens to be CPM 3V. This one here. Alright? It's 5/32 inch thick, which is fairly thin. Alright? It's a fairly thin. It's not, I gotta say this. Generally, field knives do not have to be made from really thick steel. Unless you're going to be doing, you know, like some military gauge work with them, prying open 55-gallon drums, stuff like that. Then you're going to need a behemoth 1/4 inch thick knife. You know what I mean? But generally, we don't do that kind of stuff with knives. I don't know anybody who does. When I was in the military, I could have been, you could have witnessed me doing just about anything with a knife. You know what I mean? Including punching holes in a 55-gallon drum for something or whatever, okay? Military operations are much different than civilian outdoor use, okay? Usually, all right? So this is it. This is the necker I happen to have on me right now, okay? And I wear this one a lot, okay? The scales are micarta, and I call this a hybrid scale. I think Joshua calls it a hybrid scales, where it's micarta on, you know, the front and the back, and then in the middle is Voodoo resin scales, resin, you know, composite, epoxy or whatever you call that stuff, right? Resin. All right. So it makes a pretty striking. You know, he's got all kinds of colors, all kinds of scales from Voodoo resins. You know, you got to contact Joshua Blankenship. He will make you a really cool looking knife. All right. Let me just get another one out of the way real quick. So this is the Viper Necker, and this is the Viper EDC. Okay. Now the ones he builds usually are a little different than this one. I had him elongate the blade a little bit and make it a little bit thinner. I wanted my Viper to be a little longer and slender, okay? So that's the way he built this one for me. And he put the same handles on it that he did for my Viper Necker, okay? But it's basically the same design as the Necker, just a little bigger, you know, in an EDC. It's still 5/32 inch thick. You don't need thick steel. It's got orange liners. Very comfortable. His hands are his handles are contoured. I mean, this is a really contoured ergonomic handle. He spends a lot of time profiling these handles just right. Okay, so, and I just built a basic sheath for it that I can put anything I want on. I can put a clip on this. I can put a molly lock clip. I can put a mount plate on here to put a molly lock clip in the middle. I can put a ferro rod on here. You know, whatever I want, whatever will fit, I can put it on here. All right. So there's that. There's those two knives. Okay. Now Joshua Blankenship, I work with him a lot. Okay. Him and I have a good relationship that works for us. Okay, Mike Wallace, him and I also have a good relationship. Here's a necker that is built by Mike Wallace. This is called his Field Mouse. Okay, this is not my design. This is his design. All right, we collaborated on a couple of designs, and I have them here. But this is his Field Mouse, and it's a great necker size knife that you can actually get full size work out of. Okay, it's a nice long handle. Your whole hand fits on it. All my neckers are that way. I can fit my whole hand on that handle. 5/32 inch CPM 3V. It's a very good steel. It's actually my favorite super steel for several different reasons. Okay, so there's this one. This is his textured jig pattern scales. He actually does these by hand. He jigs them out. So really, he's a phenomenal maker. Mike Wallace is a really good knife maker, and his knives are beautiful. Here's another necker here. This was made by Brian Sells from English Mountain Knives, and this is the Little Hawk. It's my design. He builds it, and then he sends it to me, and I build the sheath for it according to what the client wants. Okay, this is my personal Little Hawk necker. Now again, this blade here is a little thinner as far as this way. Okay, the ones he usually makes are a little bit fatter, right? A little bit fatter. But this knife is really good for skinning and utility tasks, camp chores, stuff like that. Okay, it'll start a fire. It's got a 90-degree spine. All my knife designs have 90-degree spines. Okay, so you can just take it, strike that ferro rod, and do your thing, right? All right, this is elder burl scales. Elder burl, green elder burl with white liners. He did a great job. I designed the handle so that the handle actually comes up into the blade a little bit. See it there? So that you can really choke up on this knife and get like phenomenal leverage out of it. Okay. Here is the this one happens to be 80 CRV2. I think it's 80 CRV2. I think. If it's not, then it's 1095. But they're close. Both of those steels are close. High carbon steel. These will rust if you let them. You got to you have to oil those high carbon blades. You have to keep them oiled with Snow Seal or CLP Plus, something like that. Okay. So here it is. Nice necker. I wear this one a lot. This one also has a flip out ferro rod. A lot of my neckers do, because in my opinion, for a necker, this is a no-brainer. I can take any one of my neckers that has a flip out ferro rod, put it around my neck, go out my backyard, build a fire just like that with what I have around my neck. That is something special to me, right? That it gives me peace of mind. That if I'm out in the field, I got my necker on, I know I got a ferro rod, and I will get a fire if I need one. Okay? And all I got to do is take it off my neck, you know, do that, take the knife into the right tinder, and I got a fire. Okay? I do it all the time, so I know it can be done. All right? So, then you just put it back to where it was, and you're good to go. This thing does not flop all over the place. It's under tension. So, really, I think it's a good idea. And then I got a Sunto mini compass on it as well. Okay, I have another knife here. This is also a knife built by Joshua Blankenship. Another one of my designs. Imagine that, right? And this is the Delta Whiskey Switchback. Alright. We just had a raffle for one of these. Waffle, baffle, whatever. We just had a waffle for one of these. This is another one of the designs that him and I work on together. Okay, this one has Voodoo resin scales as well. This one, the blade is actually 80 CRV2, which is a really good high carbon steel, nice and strong, tough, wear resistant, holds a great edge, easy to sharpen. Just a really, it's one of my favorite high carbon steels, 80 CRV2. It's a hard working steel. Cerakote on the blade, all right, so the blade won't rust. I took it upon myself to take the Cerakote off the spine and reprofile the spine to a 90 degrees so I can strike a ferro rod with it if I have to. All right, and it does that fairly well. Let's see what we got. I got a ferro rod right here. Isn't that amazing? All right. So, oh no, I burned down the house. Okay, so it really strikes a ferro rod well. Put it back on the sheath system and drive on. Okay. Again, 5/32 inch thick. Now, for you guys who don't know, this is thinner than 3/16. This knife. I'm going to say it again. You do not need thick steel in a field knife. It doesn't have to be really thick steel. You can get away with thinner steel. Steels are great nowadays. You know, there's no impurities left in steel anymore. It's nice and strong. You know, nice and you know, it holds an edge real well. Most of them do. Okay. Here's the sheath system I built for it. This is my knife. This is my Switchback. So I built it. Most of the sheaths that I build for myself, I build them so that they're modular, that I can take things off, put other things on for different situations, and I can build them that way for you too as well. All you have to do is tell me what you want to do with the knife. Tell me what you want to do with it, how you want to carry it, what you're going to do with it, whether you take it camping, whether you're in the military, whether you want a nice lightweight backpacking system or whatever. All right, you tell me what you're going to do with the knife, and I'll tell you what I think you should have. You know, I've been doing this a long time, and this is, you know, this is a Voodoo Voodoo Dangler system. This comes off, right? It's got a small tech lock on it that can come off, and put a molly lock on here. It's got a mount plate for different, you know, attachments for carrying it, you know, attaching it to things, and a ferro rod on the front. Most of my sheaths do have a thumb ramp for a one-handed draw, right? You can get a one-handed draw out of them. I put a lot of thought into these sheath systems. So, okay, so I'm going to pick up the next knife. This is a Spear 2 by Mike Wallace at Wallace Edged Tools. And again, you know, Mike is one of these custom knife makers that I work with. And the way it works is he builds the knife. You know, you get in touch with him. He'll build you the knife however you want it. When it's finished, he'll send it to me. You and I work on a sheath system together for it. I build it, and then I send everything to you. Okay? That's the way it works. So what you're getting is a custom built, especially for you, knife and sheath system that works together. Okay? That it really doesn't get any better than that. I'm taking your knife and I am molding a sheath to it so that it is a perfect fit for you, and you'll have it forever. KYDEX doesn't wear out, okay? Not like leather. You'll have this thing for as long as you live, as long as your kids live and their kids. You know, it's a family heirloom at that point, okay? So these are great knives. This is a field knife. Basically, it's a combat utility fighter, okay? It's got aspects of everything, all right? It even has a nice chamfered choke-up choil for smaller tasks. If you're looking for one of those knives that does a lot, this is it. This is one of them. I'm not saying there aren't other great knives out there, but Mike Wallace is a really special knife builder. He's really good at what he does. His handles are comfortable. You know how you get some knife makers out there. You hear all the hype about them, right? And then you buy one of their knives, and the handles like real sharp in certain places, and I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me. Okay. I read a good review or I watch a good YouTube review, and then a client sends me that knife to build a sheath for, and I'm like, oh man, that actually hurts my hand to have it in my hand for more than a minute or two. You know, you get what I'm saying? Mike's are not like that. The hype, he lives up to the hype. CPM 3V, nice belly for skinning or whatever. Okay, great feather sticks, these knives. Now he'll send it with his factory edge, what he puts on it, like most people put on their knives. That factory V edge. You can change it if you want. I think CPM 3V can handle a thinner edge. Okay, so what I do is I make it a little thinner down here and put low convex shoulders on it to make it a little stronger. But that's a different story altogether. Great knife. All right, here's the sheath I built for it. I built this like I build a lot of my other sheaths, especially my personal ones, as a modular system that I can plug things on to if I want. I can take this off, right, and put a molly lock on. I mean, put a combat lock clip on here, right? I can put a Voodoo Dangler system on this. I can put a combat lock on it and then put a Raptor Dangler assembly on it. Like, I don't know if I have one here. My Raptor assembly looks like this. Alright, it clips into any clip. It doesn't matter, the clip. Just clips in and makes your belt carry knife an instant dangler. Okay? So I can do that with that one. And it works real. It's like, this is a game changer, this thing here. Alright? So they're very popular. I sell them just by themselves too. You can make any belt carry knife that has these clips into a dangler. It's real simple. But this is Cryptek Typhon KYDEX 095, I think this runs. And I usually, if I'm going to use this knife, I usually put it on my pack. This is a little bigger than I like to put on my belt. 6¼ inch blade, you know, CPM 3V. It's a fairly large knife, and I don't like putting a larger knife on my belt like this. So I'll attach it to my pack. You know what I mean? All right, so there's that one. Now we got another Mike Wallace build. This is my design. This is the Delta Whiskey Backcountry. Okay, now this is a pretty popular knife for a $400 custom knife. He sells a lot of these. Okay, and I build a lot of sheaths for these. This is an all-out survival knife. Okay, and I built features, or I designed features into this knife that would help you survive in the bush if you had to. Okay, choke-up choil for smaller tasks, right? This, I tell you, this choke-up choil turns this into a shorter knife for smaller tasks. Choke back this way, you can chop with it or whatever. You know what I mean? Use it as a small machete. You know, this kind of thing. This particular edge is a full flat, right? That goes into a Saber Grind. This is a Saber Grind. But he'll also do a Scandi if you want one. He'll do a convex edge if you want one, or convex grind. You got to talk to him about it, all right? Really nice contoured scales. Very comfortable knife. It has a lot of features built into it. Nice belly for skinning. Nice thumb ramp, right? for thumb pushes, and you get a lot of control out of it this way. You can even do it this way too. Put your finger in the finger choil, put your thumb on the thumb ramp, and you get a lot of control out of it, right, for carving and stuff like that. It's got a reverse tanto tip, really strong tip. If you have to pry with this knife, you'll be able to pry a little bit with it, okay? This is, you know, I usually say guys in the military end up doing things with knives that you shouldn't do. But if the mission dictates it, you got to get it done. Your knife has to do it, then you do it. You know what I mean? So, Delta Whiskey Backcountry. Really well-built knife. CPM 3V. Here's the sheath I built for it. Another one. I don't usually put this on my belt. If I'm gonna take it with me, I'll put it on my pack, or I'll put it on a sling as a baldric carry. It's got a Voodoo Dangler dimple here that I can put a D-ring here and use it as a, you know, clip into it. Put a shackle on the front, the D-ring back here for the Voodoo Dangler system, and you wear it, you know, as a baldric carry with a sling. All right. This is black carbon fiber. This KYDEX. And remember this: a wide knife means a wide sheath. There's no way around it. All right. So there's that one. This one comes with a bow drill divot too. This is a great large bushcrafting knife as well. You can build shelters with this, and I have. Alrighty, let's keep going. Okay, now this next knife, these next two knives, are actually, they were designed together. Okay, I'll show you the sheaths in a minute. Okay, now this knife is the BMF by myself and Mike Wallace. This is a basic multifunction. It's called the BMF. Okay, it is basically a modern French trapper design with modern materials. CPM 3V steel, Saber Grind, although you can get other grinds as well. He'll build it however you want it. You have to talk to him about it. Mike Wallace at Wallace Edge Tools. This is 3/16 inch CPM 3V. Nice, stout, strong knife. Okay, bow drill divot. This is a bushcrafter, basically. Large 5.5 inch blade. You know, center point. That's you know, even with the middle of the handle in the back here. So you know, if you want to get those bow drill divots started, you know, the actual spindle divot started. It's easy to do. Great. I tell you, it's a great field knife. If you like those French trappers, this is a custom French trapper knife. The scales are G10, jig finish. Just a stout, really great knife. And then I designed this one to go with it, okay, as like a companion. This is basically a wood lure, okay. This is my answer to a wood lure. And I used that Ray Mears wood lure knife as kind of a model for this. Okay, this has got a Saber Grind. You can get it as a Scandi if you want. The steel is 5/32, right? It doesn't have to be that thick. This one's 3/16. It's a larger knife, right? This one doesn't have to be quite as thick. It's a smaller knife. This is more like a 4-inch blade. Very comfortable in the hand. This handle will not roll in your hand. Neither will this one. Okay, a lot of French trappers have those broom style handles, and they, you know, I work with one and the thing's slipping around in my hand. I hate that. All right, especially if your hands are wet or you got blood on them. Okay, these handles will not do that. They're kind of blocked. You know what I mean? But still rounded. Okay, very comfortable. So both of these are CPM 3V. He may suggest CPM 154 for the smaller one. It's just a stainless version, basically. But neither of these knives will rust. I've had them, but I've had both of these knives out in the field many times. Rain, snow, sleet, no rust. They just don't rust. All right. It's hard to get CPM 3V to rust, and it is a high carbon steel, so it's got enough of that maybe what, chromium or whatever, that keeps it, you know, rust free. All right, so there's those two. Starts out as a flat grind, goes into a saber. This one's also a saber grind. I like saber grinds. They're great, and I can put my edge on there, that low shoulder kind. These things are sharp as all get out. I mean, really sharp. You see, like shave some hair with it. All right. So this is the BMF, and this is the LMF. Both made by Mike Wallace at Wallace Edged Tools. Now here's the sheath systems I made. These are my knives. Okay. This one's basically simple. This has got our older Dangler, the tabby Dangler. You know, it's got Dangler on it, D-ring, tech lock, and then I put a ceramic on here, and I just hold it on there with Ranger bands. Ranger bands are good things. Check them out. Just Google it, Ranger bands. And you use them for all kinds of stuff. I use them in the military all the time, even to keep my socks up. All right. So this is Coyote Brown, and this is like a tan hex cam pattern. All right. There's that one. Got a nice thumb ramp on it. Just nice, secure. That's KYDEX. That's KYDEX for you. And then this one, it started out with just the BMF sheath on the bottom here, and then I built this. I built a piggyback onto it, and this is our quick clip piggyback system. I can't do it for every knife, but if the knife is small enough, and you want to put it a tech lock on it or a combat lock belt clip, I can make it so you can easily piggyback that thing onto it. Okay, and it's secure. It's not coming off of there, right? And if you want to wear it as a belt carry again, you just remove it. It just comes right off. All right, it won't slip off. You got to pull it, right? But you know, you take it off your belt, put it back on, and you got a Dangler. I mean, a piggyback again. Okay. Now this is an Izula 2, I think. Yeah, Izula 2 by Essie. Essie Izula 2, and that's a 2.5, 3-inch blade, you know, and it fits on, you know, a 5.5-inch, 6-inch knife, 6.25 inch. Sorry, all right, and it works great as a system. So I put the if I can get that on there, I put the tops, the Essie Izula on here. Now this almost didn't fit. Okay, if these two handles ride together, if they go up any further, then it's going to be hard to draw either one of them. Okay, but this worked out perfect. All right, so if you're looking for an Essie Izula piggyback, this is a good piggyback knife. All right, so there's that. Again, you want to see that, and then you want to put it back on, just snaps right back on. Okay, and you can pull it. You know, you can slam it on. You're not gonna break it. All right, there it is. If you should happen to break this piece, I'll just make you a new one. No big deal. Okay, there's that. The LMF and the BMF by Mike Wallace at Wallace Edged Tools. Great little knives. All custom. All these knives are custom blades. To one degree or the other. You know, they're not fully custom, some of them are. So if you would, keep in mind that I work with knives every day of my life. Clients are continually sending me different knives almost every day, and I pretty much have my choice of a lot of different knives, and these are the ones I like. These are the ones I have chosen to use in the field because of their innate qualities. Now, whether I designed them or somebody else did, these are the knives I like to use in the field, and they work well for me. But that's not to say that there aren't other knives out there that I like just as much. They just haven't hit the table. You know what I mean? They haven't been put in this video. I'll give you an example. Let me talk about how makers make knives, okay, and pricing. All of these may be, or most of these may be custom knives, but they're not super expensive. You get what I'm saying? The most expensive custom knife here is about 400 bucks, okay? And as far as custom knives go, that's not very expensive. Custom knives go up into the thousands of dollars. At some point, there's no more quality built into a knife. It's just a name you're paying for, okay? I'll use Boosie as an example, okay? Boosie, I believe, are really popular knives, not only because they're great knives, but because they've been used in several movies, and Hollywood has kind of pumped them up, and guys like that. So that's what I call the wow factor. Oh man, Rick from The Walking Dead carried this knife, or what's his name? Who's the other one? Rick and the motorcycle driver guy. That guy. All right, he carried one in Walking Dead. Blah blah blah. Right. So that's the wow factor I'm talking about. That can increase the price of a knife by, you know, 200–300%. Just Hollywood's endorsement. And that's not really an endorsement. That's just who they got to build the knife. Or that's who the producers say, get some knives from this company. I like those. They're cool looking. You get what I'm saying? So at some point, custom knives don't get better in quality. You're just paying for a name after that. You know what I mean? All of these knives are solid, well-built custom knives. Okay? Let's take this guy right here. Now, I really like this knife. I designed it, okay? This is the Farnhawk. Alright? The Delta Whiskey Farnhawk. It's made by Sam Farnworth at Firekeeper Forge. Okay? Now, Sam and I, we don't do a whole lot anymore together, but he is still making this knife, okay? Now, for whatever reason, I usually don't get them back from him to put a sheath on them. He usually puts a leather sheath on it, and the client is satisfied with that. But the Farnhawk, this is a collaboration between him and I. And it turned out real nice. I love this knife. It's 80 CRV2, and what I like about that steel is it sharpens up really easy and holds a pretty good edge. Okay? So you only have to work for, you know, a minute with this knife and you'll get it nice and sharp. And it holds that edge for, you know, as far as high carbon steels go. Non-super steels. Now, if I work with this knife for 20–30 minutes, right, doing all kinds of stuff, it's going to dull out, and I'm going to have to re-strop it, okay? Whereas something like CPM 3V, I don't have one left on the table here. A CPM 3V knife, I can go all day working with that, and it's still razor sharp when you know, at the end of the day. And that's the difference between high carbons and super steels and stuff like that, all right? Delta Whiskey Farnhawk. This is the sheath I built for it. This is walnut burl. I think it's a cool looking hardwood. It's pretty durable. It's hard. And I'm pretty sure all he uses is stabilized hardwoods, which means they're basically resinized, and chemicals are put into the wood to keep them from absorbing water, basically, and they do well. They work well as knife handles.